You are listening to WKNC. This is your host, Abdullah Najjar, and in today's episode of Connecting the Pack, I am joined by Bastian Hauser. Bastian is a student from Germany who recently came to the United States to start studying at NC State University. And today we will try to explore some of his experience in Germany, and to further understand what brought him here to the U.S. and lessons that he learned throughout his journey so far. So, Bastian, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, I would like to start off with a question that I'm sure you get asked a lot whenever you meet Americans here, or maybe even international students, and that is the reason behind showing up to the United States and NC State. So, what fueled your interest to show up to the United States?
Mm-hmm. Let me start by explaining my program.
Absolutely.
Because I'm studying business or international management, and I'm part of a program where you spend 2 years in your home country, and then you spend 2 years in a foreign country. And I knew that I wanted to study abroad for as long as possible. And so when I applied for the program, I already had to take the decision where I wanted to go to. And to be honest, at that time, I didn't think, I didn't have a huge pro and con list. It was more of an intuitive decision. US sounds cool. I know that it's a country that is very important in world politics, and I heard a lot of cliches about Americans, and just heard a lot of stories, and I wanted to find out myself, wanted to explore it, and I also thought that it's a unique chance to study in the US because it's quite far away from home.
Mm-hmm.
You can probably live in France at another point, for example, or in another European country. So I just wanted to get.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting. And what's even more interesting is wanting to to make sure that the cliches are actually true. But no, this is something maybe we can talk about later, whether or not some of the things that the preconceived notions actually match the reality of what you saw here. So this is something maybe we can talk about later, because I'd be interested to know more about it. But so let's say when you first showed up here, walk me through some of the expectations you had about the education system and generally the college community. Did you have any expectations? And if so, what did they match what you saw in real life here in the U.S.?
Mm-hmm. So if we're talking about the education system, I've been told that there's a lot of assignments and quizzes, and so a lot of work during the semester, which is very different from studying in Germany, because in Germany, the most amount of, you have one exam at the end of the semester, and that's basically your whole grade. So,
wow.
I've been told this, but I still was surprised by how many things you need to do just during a regular week. And also that exams aren't as important as in Germany. So, you can fail an exam and still, you could fail your final exam and still pass the course, for example.
Right.
Then I think, one part of studying in the US, one of the pictures you had in your heads are huge frat parties, football games, red drinking cups, stuff like this. Turned out to be kind of accurate.
Wow. Interesting.
So especially with college football.
Yeah.
It's unusual because my home university, there are 5,000 students, I think, studying there.
Oh, so it's a small university.
Yeah, where I'm from. And I think how many people fit into Carter Finlay Stadium? 60,000, something like this.
I think so. So essentially, the entire student body of your university in Germany would technically fit into one stadium here at NC State. Is that true?
Like 10 times my student body.
Oh
in Germany.
my!
If I remember correctly, we were 5,000 students back in
Oh.
Germany. I mean, to be fair, it's Reutling. It's a very small university, so that's not usual. But just having all these like huge events, planes flying over your football stadium, stuff like this was just very new, but very, very fun.
So that's actually interesting, because I would think that here in the United States, most of the students, when they go into college, they form this sort of they form some level of connection to their host institution, right? It's as if it's their home now, and they, you can see it with the merchandise and people putting on hoodies and shirts and things that have that are exclusive to that university. You see a person walking around with an NC State hoodie, for example. I'm wondering if that level of intimacy that students form is with their university is the same in Germany. Do you guys have this sort of, I guess, commodification of the university experience and this sort of connection to your college, or it's just an educational institution?
So generally speaking, not as much as in the US. You're not. Maybe also because like university sports aren't as big in Germany as they are in the US. I mean, you have merchandise it exists that you have like merchandise from your university, but maybe you have like one shirt, one sweatshirt, and and you bury it to sleep because you got it free at the first day of the studies or something.
Wow.
From the university where I'm from, so like Reutling University, and our faculty, so kind of the college, is called ESB. That's the business school there, and they try to like enforce it a little more, like that you have like some sort of school spirit, and that you feel connected to your college or also your study program, which worked for us because we were about 100 students in one semester in a study program. So I felt quite connected to my college and to my fellow students, but I think that's more unusual. So we also went to
this is gonna sound fun.
So for example, there are also there's one sports competition in a year for kind of business colleges or faculties or something, and I also participated in one of them.
Okay.
But that's not the rule. That's probably something that's quite unusual.
Interesting. Yeah, because I've been thinking about that. When I first showed up here and in the U.S., I definitely felt like there's this sort of university spirit is pretty high. Students feel, at least maybe to first year students before they get super busy, but there is that certain there's a level of intimacy that they form toward their institution that I don't think is something that is self-evident in Libya, where I come from, with college students back home or even in school. So I wondered if that is something that maybe only exists in the Western world, or maybe if it's just exclusive to the United States. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I feel like Germany, like you said, I mean, it seems like your experience is rather the exception than the rule.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And still, like where I was from, it was far not as extreme, kind of. Not extreme, but not as much as at NC State.
Wow. So. Okay, so tell me about something that you find that maybe you appreciate about the college experience here in the U.S. that you think is worth shipping back home to your home institution, if you actually thought about this thoroughly, that is.
So the first thing that comes to my mind is that you have some general education courses here. This was actually one of the reasons I decided to come to the US. Because I think it's a cool idea that you also have to learn about a little bit about sciences, a little bit about humanities, or just things that aren't from your major. First, because I think it's interesting and it's cool to like learn about things from different areas, and also because I think that you will benefit from just having a more broader idea about world, and not only knowing things from your specific field of study.
I think I think it's worth maybe applying to other universities abroad that don't do that, right? So what about what about what about sports in general? Do you guys focus a lot on sports in college, or is that something that is very much U.S. exclusive?
So what I noticed, I think that you have sports linked to your university or linked to your high school. That's like kind of US exclusive.
Yeah.
Because at least in Germany, you tend to have more like a club or something, but which is open to everyone. So it does, though you have people from different schools going to your club, or also like later in life when some people are already working, for example, soccer club back home. It's just a club itself. It doesn't have to do anything with any high school or college or something. So I think it's separated.
Yeah.
There are like you can participate in sports through your university, for example, but it's often in cooperation with said clubs that you can just participate there for free or something. Yeah.
Interesting. So, okay, let me see if we can maybe explore more about your involvement on campus. So, what would you say is some what would you say is an entity here on campus that you are very much involved in?
I would say the student newspaper. So I'm writing for Technician. I'm pretty involved in that. I'm also part of the sailing club.
Oh, okay.
But like in the last few weeks, I've done more for Technician.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, maybe we can start with the sailing club and then move into Technician. So, the sailing club, how did that start? How how did you get involved with the sailing club here?
I've been at Dragfest, so where all the different clubs just talk about what they're doing, and there was a sailboat. I talked to them. I thought, oh yeah, that's cool. Let's have a look at it. That's how I ended up in sailing club, and I love it. It's cool.
Oh man, that reminds me of the time I joined the Irish Dance Club. I literally saw there, like, I saw a stand and a couple of students talking about their Irish Dance Club, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. Let's join it. Very spontaneous. So technically, you didn't have experience in sailing. You just wow. So where'd you guys go recently? I'm sure you've had like some sort of experience that is memorable with them, right?
Yeah, so you usually go sailing on Lake Crabtree, which is 15 minutes away from campus. But during fall break, it was fall break, we've been on a trip with the sailing club. We went to Beaufort, so at the East Coast, at the Outer Banks.
Oh.
Do you know Cape Lookout?
I don't think so. No,
just part of the Outer Banks.
Okay.
And we sailed like to the Outer Banks, camped there. It was a lot of fun.
Oh man, no,
really
I
cool.
bet. And how long did you guys stay there?
2 nights.
Man, I'm sure it was a wonderful experience. Yeah, I think generally speaking, I think there are a lot of places here in North Carolina that people recommend that I should go visit and I should go camping in these places. So I think I'm sure you guys had a wonderful time.
Did you go camping yet in North Carolina?
Not really. I should, right?
Yeah.
I should.
You should.
Yeah. So let's maybe talk about Technician. So Technician is a student-led newspaper here on campus, and you said you got involved in that. So how did you get involved in media, in student media?
So I've written for 2 newspapers before coming to the US.
Oh.
And so I knew that I also wanted to do it here, and then just looked up the website. I sent them an email, was like, hey, I want to join you guys. Can I come over? They were like, yeah, come over. And so, yeah, just attended one. I wanted to go to the news section, so I just attended the news section meeting and, got involved.
So walk me through, maybe you can walk me through the nature of the work that you do. So what particular say aspect of Technician that you are, or what particular position do you have with Technician? Are you a photographer? Do you write stories, and do you combine both, or what can you tell me about that?
So as of now, I'm a correspondent, which means I'm writing. So I also wanna write for Technician in the future. I'm not a photographer. I don't know a lot about it. And yeah, we meet once per week, talk about things that we think that could be interesting, and if someone wants to write about the specific topic, they can just take it, write an article. Yeah.
Interesting. So what topics have you written about, and what experiences did you have so far with Technician?
A wide range of topics, so I don't have a specific beat or something.
Okay, tell me about the ones that you think are most interesting.
So I wrote about theater, and so this was actually for the culture section, about the theater in Raleigh. I wrote an article about courseware such as Cengage or Pearson, just where you have to pay for it, for example, to take your exams or to submit your quizzes, things like this.
Yeah.
I wrote something about NC State's first Latinx student body president. What else? We had a talk about a professor was talking about the implication that AI has for teaching and research and things like this.
Okay, let me pick up on one thing from those from the different things that you wrote about. Theater. So you said something about culture and theater. Maybe you can share with me and the audience what the content was, because I think that's something that is interesting to explore. What do you think?
So it was a play in Raleigh Little Theater, which is 8 minutes away from Hill is on campus, right?
Hillsborough?
No, Hill Library.
Oh, Hill Library, yes. So
that's the one on campus.
Yeah,
not
that is the one on campus, main campus.
Okay,
yeah.
So it's maybe 6 minutes away by foot from Hill Library.
Oh.
And it was a play about, do you know Stephen King's book, Misery?
Oh, yes. I know about Stephen King, but not necessarily the book.
He wrote a book called Misery, and it was the theater adaptation of a movie that was based on the book.
Oh, wow.
So
interesting daisy chain.
Yeah. But very well done. I think I'm allowed to say it now because I gotta stay neutral in the newspaper. Okay. I can say it now. I think it was a very good play. But they had the stage in the middle of the audience.
Oh.
So the audience was on the left, on the right of the room, and the stage was in the middle of the room.
Wow. It's like you're watching a catwalk, with modeling.
Yeah.
Is that essentially, wow. Isn't that weird though? I mean, that's not something we're used to, right? When we're seeing a theatrical performance.
No, I mean, you were really close to what happened, but I think that's a good thing.
Wow. So you were in the front row?
No, but the audience in general is much closer to everything that happens.
Wow. So technically you guys were on either side and the stage was in between the audience.
Yeah.
Like it separates you to a right side and a left side. And okay, so that is fascinating. What what were they performing about? What was the theme? I mean, you said misery. Does that have to do something with like sadness, or does it have to do anything with that? Or
So the story was about the writer who had a car accident, and somewhere in the U.S. was cold, was snowy, and he had a car accident. And the nurse found him, took him home because like the roads were blocked due to the snow, and she couldn't reach a hospital and stuff.
Yeah.
And then she took him home, helped him to recover, and at some point of the play, things get kind of out of hand.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, I'll have to look it up. But that is. So how long did it last? How
Not quite sure, maybe 1.5 hours, maybe 2, something around that.
And is that your first ever theater performance that you witness live, or?
In the US.
Okay. Well, that's fascinating. And okay, so how does it? Did you when you said you pitch an idea to the editor, what you want to do? Did you have to look this up, this theatrical performance prior, or what? How do you know, say, what's going on at NC, or do you do research? Do you ask around? What is your approach?
So this particular piece or this particular article I wrote with a friend, and I don't know if she had the idea or if she just picked it up from somewhere, but in this case, I didn't come up with the idea. I just thought, oh yeah, that's cool. Also want to write about it. But for example, the article about the first Latinx student body president, like I saw a very small photo, I think, somewhere in the library where was like 3 sentences about her. I thought, oh yeah, okay, that sounds interesting. I want to dig deeper into that. And that's what I did. And then I pitched the article and they were like, yeah, sounds interesting. You can write about it.
Wow.
So
That's really fascinating. To actually be involved in well, actively involved in what's going on campus and writing about it, or even off campus, right? So you said that you became a staff writer. Is that an accurate assessment of?
Not yet.
Not yet. What would it take to become a staff writer?
You have to write a certain amount of articles, have a certain amount of editing sessions, short quiz, talk with your editor-in-chief.
Oh.
Did I talk about trainings? You have to do some trainings.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's it.
Wow. So is there a current project that you're working on right now that, or some piece, maybe you can't share the details. Oh, you can't. Wow.
Okay. But I just finished an article about surplus sale.
Surplus sale.
Like where the university sells all the stuff that the different departments don't need anymore.
Oh.
I think it should be published in a few days. So
okay. I look forward to reading that. I sure do. So what have you, generally speaking, I mean, outside of say, your involvement in student media, what have you learned so far from being in the U.S. for maybe 3 months now, right? Almost 3 months.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like key lessons, things that may have, I don't know, reshaped your perspective, or something that is worth sharing here with the audience.
You mean things I learned about the U.S.?
Yeah, things that may have like a key lesson, you know, something that maybe something you learn about the U.S. or lessons learned from being abroad. You know, being abroad for like 3 months. Mm-hmm. Lessons learned when it comes to maybe being away from family and friends, you know, things of that nature.
I think one of the things is that you realize which behaviors of yours are just culturally shaped.
Mm-hmm.
So Let me think about a good example. So you, I'm not always punctual, so I can't use the typical German
Take
punctuality
all your
example.
time.
But
No, I think it's an interesting moment of silence. You can think it through. Maybe I can share something from my perspective here. Maybe that it resonates with you. So I've been abroad for a while. I've lived in Lebanon for a while, away from family and friends, and I've lived in in the U.S. For a short while, 5 months, and then I came back. My time in the U.S. that lasted for 5 months was 2 years ago. Now I came back. So a lesson that I learned was, or one of the lessons is that the cultural shock or the longing for the sort of life that you had back home, or that sort of intimacy that you form with your home country, is definitely not going to go away. You will. It's not like you will 100% adapt to this newfound environment. You will feel a connection to your home country every now and again, and you shouldn't resist that. You should allow yourself to feel that sort of emotion, right? The tendency to want to experience sort of the previous life. You should allow that sort of emotion to consume you, because if you were to resist that, it would be unnatural. Like, be true to your emotions. Do not allow yourself to resist the emotions that you feel about the life back home, or the sort of structure that you had. It's fine to feel these emotions, but what's even more important is to understand these emotions, and to understand that it's a natural thing. We will all go through that.
True.
But to always remember that what you're doing here, or what brought you here essentially, is the tendency to want to put yourself in discomfort, to put yourself outside of your comfort zone, and to experience something new. Because that's I think where true growth lies. So even though you will feel a longing for your home country and sort of structure that you had, it's also important to experience discomfort every now and again, because that's where true growth lies. So yeah, I think that's a lesson I learned, but I'm sure that's something that resonates with you as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you also said something a bit about culture shocks earlier.
Yeah, maybe we can explore that too, right?
So that's probably also a lesson I learned. I think that might not be the case for you, because Germany and US are both Western countries. So when I first came here, I didn't have a huge culture shock. And I was like, oh, okay, like those stoplights are looking funny and stuff.
Okay.
And everybody's driving a truck, but it was like a huge culture shock in the beginning.
Everybody's driving a truck. That's funny.
But I would say maybe like the culture shock comes the other way around. So like the longer you're here, the more you discover differences, opposed to, okay, in the beginning everything's new and then slowly you get used to it and stuff like this.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna stay here for another 1.5 years, so we'll see if that actually turns out to be true, or I'm completely wrong.
Yeah, we're gonna test that.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think the longer you spend, the longer you stay in a different environment, the more you start to understand what the environment is all about, right? The more you start to understand the differences and the nuances. this environment provides.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really interesting that you would, even though it is a Western country, I'm sure, there's a lot that you will discover throughout your stay here. So since we're approaching sort of the end of our episode here and recording, I would like to wrap up by asking you this question. What is what is the thing that you would recommend an international student do at NC State before they graduate or before they leave?
I mean, I'm a bit biased, but I think that it's actually a good idea to join student media.
Yeah.
because you get to talk to so many people you wouldn't otherwise have talked. So
yeah.
I learned about all crazy sorts of clubs that exist. Or I got projects from the library, or you just get in touch with many more things than you would usually do just for you. Maybe your study program or one club of something. So, I mean, it's always a good idea to get involved. But I think especially if you're reporting on things that happen on campus, of course, you learn far more about campus than you would just do in your daily life.
I love that.
Can you confirm that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, being involved here got me. I got to know you from student media. I got to know another international student here from student media, and I also learned many things about student media that I never thought I would learn about, like the story of one of our former journalists here who unfortunately passed away in Libya, a country that I come from. He goes to Libya as a photojournalist, documenting the war, and unfortunately passes away. So there's definitely, I totally agree. I mean, there's definitely a lot to that you will learn from being involved in student media. So that's I would also recommend international students to get involved. But yes, anything else you want to add, Bastian? That maybe a message to maybe like something about travel or recommendations?
I mean, it's basic, but try to go to the North Carolina Atlantic coast. Really,
okay.
Really beautiful.
Yeah, that's good. Well, Bastian, I want to thank you for your time and for this conversation. It was a pleasure having you here.
It was a pleasure being here. Thanks.
Thank you.